Hello and welcome to our Total Quality Management Tools sessions in which we are going to be discussing the Pareto Chart. The Pareto Chart is named after the Italian economist and sociologist Vilfredo Pareto. It is useful for separating the important from the trivial, and it's important in helping organizations decide where to focus their limited resources. Which kind of resources? Time, people, and money. The Pareto chart represents data in arrays along the x-axis and the y-axis. And as you can see here, we actually have two y-axes, and we'll be looking at that in a minute. The Pareto chart is a histogram of the data from the largest frequency to the smallest frequency, which is represented by the bars. Normally, a histogram typically takes a shape of a bell. Pareto chart, by definition, the frequency is organized from high to low. The Pareto chart was brought into total quality management by Joseph Girard, who called it the Pareto principle. This Pareto principle has other names. It's also known as the 80-20 rule, the law of the vital few, and the principle of factor sparsity. Okay? This principle basically states that roughly 80% of the effects come from 20% of the causes. What does that mean? This means that 80% of your complaints usually come from 20% of your defects. So if a company is going to try to get rid of any defects, try to figure out how to get rid of defects, they should look at the defects that are causing the most trouble. So 80% of your troubles, of your complaints, are coming from 20% of your defects. In this one graph, for example, you can see how A happens more often than the last one bar, E. Okay? So if the company is going to figure out quality issues, they should get their limited resources, the people, money, and time, to focus on the first bar instead of the last one. Okay, so it allows for a company to see where the main problems are. Okay, so we have this quick exercise here to construct a Pareto chart on the distribution of defects A, B, and C. So we see here that we have for the 3 defects, A has happened 13 times, B has happened 28 times, and C has happened 9 times. This is frequency here. So Pareto chart, as per definition, should be organized from highest frequency to lowest frequency. This is not organized from highest to low. Okay, the highest frequency is B, so we should reorganize this Pareto chart so that B happens first. Okay, all right. So this is the first step. Once we have the categories from highest to low on frequency here, then we can continue our calculations. Okay, so we have B happens 28 times as frequency. So cumulative frequency is 28. Nothing else has accumulated. It's only B by itself. By the time you have the second category A, yes, your cumulative frequency means B has happened already, and then you're adding A to it. So 28 plus 13 is equal to 41. Okay, and then for the cumulative frequency of A, B plus C, you will have 28 plus 13 plus 9, which is equals to 50. Okay, cumulative frequency should be the same number as your total frequency. 28 plus 13 plus 9 is 50. You have a total of 50 complaints. That 28 are coming from B, 13 are coming from A, and 9 are coming from C. Now, to calculate the cumulative percentage, okay, we do for the first one, we have 28 times that category B has happened, divided by the total number of complaints, which is 50, times 100 is equal to 56%. So defect B has happened 56% of the time. Okay, for the second line, for the cumulative percentage of B plus A. We have 41 have happened, frequency for 41 divided by 50 times 100 to put it into percentage points, and that is equal to 82%. And the last line for the cumulative of C, we are accumulating the frequency of B plus A plus C. In this case, we have had a total of 50 of them divided by the total of 50 times 100 equals to 100%. Okay, so this is the calculations that we've done, just typed a little more neat for you. Okay, and it's important to notice that the cumulative frequency column we calculated so that we can calculate the cumulative percentage, which is one of the y-axes for the Pareto chart. The Pareto chart category is your x-axis. Okay, frequency is this one of our y-axes. I'm going to call this y-axis 1. Okay, and cumulative percentage is the second y-axis. I'm going to call this y-axis 2. But this column here, we do in order to calculate cumulative percentage, do not graph it. It's not part of our diagram directly. We do it so that we can calculate cumulative percentage. Okay, with all our information now neatly done, we get to graph it. As I mentioned, categories here is your y-axis. Frequency is y-axis. I'm sorry, categories is your x-axis. I think I called it y. This is y-axis 1. Cumulative percentage is y-axis 2. Okay? Okay, so let's go ahead and graph it. This is categories. Okay, this is frequency here. And this is cumulative percentage on the other one, this other y-axis. All right. So one thing that's important to be careful about is whatever scale you use, just be consistent. So for frequency, I see that my highest frequency is 28. Okay, so I'm going to call every 4 squares 10 units for my frequency. So this is 10, this is 20, and this is 30. And my first category or defect is V, and it happens 28 times. So I'm going to say every square technically is 2.5 units. So I'm going to call this 28. Okay, so this is the B category with 28 times as frequency. A happened 13 times, so we're going to call this one here 13. Okay, and C happened 9 times, so a little bit below 10. Okay, and at this point we have graphed the frequency and we have our categories done. For cumulative percentage, the second axis, the second y-axis, scale is independent from the frequency scale. What does that mean? For frequency, I called for every unit 2.5 units. So 4 of them were a total of 10. For my cumulative percentage, that's separate from the other y-axis, and I'm going to call every square 10%. 10, this is percentage on this side. 20, okay, this is 30, 40, 50, 60, 70, and it goes all the way to 100%, because the Pareto chart goes all the way to 100%. So both y-axes are independent from one another. So we see that for the cumulative percentage, category B or defect B has happened 56% of the time. Okay, so we see where 50 and 60 are, a little bit more than half will be 56%. It's a little crowded here. but I will show you after this in a different graph a little more neatly, just developing the graph so that you can follow what I'm talking about right now. Cumulative category A plus B is 82%. So I'm gonna call this 82%, and it's somewhere around here, a little lower. And C is 100%. Okay, 100%. The ones you have them organized, you join them, and that's your cumulative percentage. Okay, here it is. Okay, so what you see is that your bars in a Pareto chart should go from high to low, and your cumulative percentage is from low to high, and it always goes all the way to 100. Okay, and you can see the scale in the frequency axis is very different from your cumulative percentage axis. Okay, they're independent from one another. B, you see that it happened 28 times, so this is your bar, and you read it in the frequency. But percentage is this one, and it percentage-wise was 56%, and you read it to the right axis. Okay. All right. So now this is cumulative percentage. Let me, if we were to talk about category C, the percentage of defects by itself, not cumulative. Cumulative is 100%. This is the percentage of defects B plus A plus C. That was 100% of the complaints. Everything is there. If I want to know what percentage of concerns is of C by itself, you have to take out B and A from this equation, right? So to get the total amount of total percentage of complaints generated by defect C, you will have to do 100% minus 82%. What was before? 18%. Okay. If you wanted to see the percentage of complaints generated by defect A by itself, you will have to then subtract the information from before, which means you will have to subtract 82% minus 56%, which will be equal to 26%. Okay, and this right here are the percentages of the defects alone, not cumulative. Yes. From here, this right here percentage is cumulative. It's the addition of one after the other. But it's not. If I were to ask what percentage of the complaints is being generated by defect A, for example, by defect A alone is 26%, not 82. 82 is the cumulative percentage, which is B plus A. Thanks so much for joining us in this one session of Pareto Chart. And don't forget to look for the rest of our sessions in the other basic tools of total quality management. Thank you.